This is a clip from Forbidden Knowledge NewsCon 2022. To access this entire presentation and every presentation from the conference, just click the link in the description or go to rokfin.com/FKN+.
Okay, so I have, for those who saw me last year or have seen me with Chris or have seen me around the podcast community, what I teach is something called astrotheology and basically all sorts of ancient holy books. And that's not just the Bible, for example. What I do is I decode the Bible using astrology. And believe it or not, all the ancient text, all the ancient holy text, everything from the Enuma Elish to the Epic of Gilgamesh to the Code of Hammurabi, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Koran, all the Bible stories, all of them, including all the Gnostic texts, are all encoded this way. Okay. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to do the Quran. And the reason I'm going to do the Quran is because I previously, excuse me, I had previously done in my last years and stuff that you guys have already seen, the Old Testament and the New Testament. We've gone into Revelation a bit. We've gone into, the book of Job, the book of Matthew. We've gone into all of this stuff, the Psalms. So I wanted to do the Quran today to show that the Quran is also an ancient astrotheology book, and it's nothing to be worried about. The people who take it literally do scary things with it in the world. Not all of them, okay? I'm not judging all of them. Just like there's some great Christians, just like there's some great Jews, there's also a lot of assholes in all three of them. And the truth of the matter is the Quran is an astrotheology book that needs to be exposed. And that's what we're going to do. So, Chris, real quick, can you see the presentation? Okay, so let's start. The first sign I talk about is Aquarius, which is represented by the man with the water pitcher. So there's key words. Anytime you hear son of man, and the reason you hear son of man or man is because Aquarius is the man sign, whereas Virgo is the woman sign. So it could be used to talk about a boy, a man, an old man. That's all Aquarius. Baptism, because this is how you baptize someone, is with the you pouring the water out of the pitcher onto the baby's head. Fountain, stream, river, pond, lake, creek, things of that example, water-based things, they're talking about Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is actually an air sign. It's not a water sign, but because there's water in the sign, in tropical astrology, decoding astrotheology in the Bible, it's used to mention water. Now, all the water examples that I just gave you apply in Pisces too, which is the mutable water sign, which is the sign of the two fish in the water. Now, I also know that the year starts in Aries, okay, but I started in Aquarius. That's just the way that I do it. The year actually does start in Aries. So if we're doing it correct, the year starts in Aries. Aries is the ram. And in Aries, you have March 21st, which is the spring equinox. It's a 12-hour day. It's a 12-hour night. It's also known as the Passover. Now, in astrotheology, the Passover literally means the sun passes over the equator and back on its way to its height in the summer solstice. In Christianity, the passing over is changed, and it's called the resurrection of God's Son, S-U-N, Jesus being the solar deity. Okay? In Judaism, the Passover is when the angel of death passes over the houses. And anybody that doesn't have the lamb or the ram, Aries the ram, that doesn't have the ram's blood smeared on their doorpost, or the lamb's blood, same thing, smeared on the doorpost, their firstborn sons get killed. So whenever you hear ram, lamb, shepherd, ram's horn, or Jews, you're talking about Aries. Jews because the Jewish people are the people of Aries. That's why they blow the ram's horn during the high holy days. It's Aries worship. Taurus is the bull. And when you look at the sky and you see Taurus during the season where it's supposed to be, you know that you need to put the plow on the bull so that you can plant the seeds so that you can harvest in Virgo and Libra. So whenever you hear bull, ox, calf, or cow being the female bull, you're talking about Taurus. And Gemini is the twins. It's the story of Castor and Pollux Troy, whose sister was Helen of Troy. It's the story of Achilles. So whenever you hear twins or brothers, you're talking about Gemini. Cancer is the crab. It's the sideways moving creature. So what the sun rises on a degree on its axis starting on December 25th. Then on December 26th, it'll rise 1 additional degree. Then on December 27th, it'll rise 1 additional degree. And it keeps doing this until it hits June 21st. Okay, so basically as it rises a degree a day, the nights get shorter, the days get longer. Okay, that's why the spring starts the new year. Okay, now it stops on June 21st, and then for 3 days it stays at that same degree, hence walking sideways like the crab. Then on June 25th, it lowers a degree. The crab in the ancient time was known as the scarab. So whenever you hear crab or beetle, you're talking about Cancer. Then Leo. Leo is the king. He's the lion. He's the king of the jungle. The ruling planet of Leo is actually the sun. So whenever you hear lion, lioness, or cub, they're talking about Leo. Virgo is the woman holding the wheat stalk. So remember before we said you plant in Taurus? Well, the virgins you'd look up at the sky, you'd see the virgin with the wheat stalk. And the virgins would go out, and when they saw the wheat stalk and the virgin in the sky, they would go out and cultivate the wheat on earth. It's as above, so below, in order to make the bread for the year. So you'd plant it in Taurus, and then it would grow, and then you cultivate it in Virgo. Okay, so whenever you hear wheat, grain, seed, virgin, barley, corn, grainy things that you harvest, that's in Virgo. Then Libra is the justice. It's the scales, it's the balance, it's the just one. And the reason it's the justice is because it judges God's sun as it passes over the fall equinox and begins its descent into winter, into cold, into death. Libra is also wine season. So when you plant for the grapes in Taurus, you press the wine here in Libra. Okay, so Libra is also olive oil season. Okay, so we have 3 things going on. You have all law things: law, judge, justice, the just one, divorce, marriage, court. You have all lawly things. You have wine, vineyard, wine press, grapes. That's in there too. And olive oil. You have olives or oil because you press the olives in Libra too. Okay, so all lawly things, all wine-related things or grape-related things, the vine, for example, and all olive-related things are Libra. Then Scorpio is the scorpion, and he is the betrayer. When a scorpion bites you, it leaves an imprint in your skin that looks like a pair of lips. It's where the mafia gets the kiss of death from. And it's why Jesus was betrayed by Judas with a kiss, because each one of the zodiac signs corresponds to one of the disciples. There's 12 signs, 12 disciples. Okay, and Jesus being the sun. So the sun is judged in Libra, and it's betrayed in Scorpio. Finally, in Sagittarius, this is where the bow and the arrow shoot the sun and inflict further punishment on the sun. This is where the sun dies. Why? Because remember how on June 21st it's at its height and then it walks sideways for 3 days? Well, December 21st, it's at its lowest and it walks sideways for 3 days. So when it's on its lowest, December 21st, the sun doesn't actually rise above the horizon. So the ancients used to look at it and say, oh, God's sun was dead. And then what happened was it would walk sideways for 3 days. It wouldn't raise another degree. So they would say God's son was dead for 3 days, which is why Jesus ends up being dead for 3 days. Then on December 25th, or the birth of God's son, when all the gods were born, December 25th, because the sun comes back to life, it's born again. It's raised from the dead and it comes back to life. It's the metaphor for it all. So whenever you hear horse, bow and arrow, spear, or horseman, you're talking about Sagittarius. And then finally you have Capricorn, because Capricorn's the goat, and the goat climbs the mountain better than anyone else. So if you look at the zodiac wheel, Capricorn's actually at the bottom of it. Okay, so Capricorn being at the bottom of it, if you put the sun on the wheel and you climb it a degree a day alongside the wheel, and you just follow a path, okay, it starts to climb in Capricorn. So it starts to climb up the mountain back to June 21st, the height in Cancer, and it does this pattern every single year without fail. So this is these are the 12 signs. Chris, I don't know if you're here or if you want to jump in real quick, but we could just start and just go right into the Quran with all these key words. Okay. Surah 1, the opener of the book. The day of judgment. 1, he is the sovereign. The day of judgment is December 21st in Sagittarius, which is when the sun is finally executed on the judgment provided during Libra, the scales, the justice, the just one. SURA 2, the cow. Okay, it's named the cow. When they are told, you on earth do not sow wickedness, they answer, on the contrary, we only sow good here. Sowing takes place during Taurus. Remember, you plant when you see the bull in the sky, you put the plow on the bull. Sowing takes place in Taurus, which is when you plant the seed. Taurus, the female bull, is the cow. That's why SURA 2 is known as the cow. 22, he raised up the heaven as a covering and poured out water abundantly from heaven to grow fruit for your food. The zodiac is the heavens covering. Pouring out the water comes from Aquarius, the man with the water pitcher pouring it out. 25, they are waiting for gardens washed by rivers, and whenever they will be served fruits from there. The rivers are Pisces, the rivers with the fish in them, and they will be served fruits in Libra when the fruits are ready to be harvested. Then he proceeded to create the heavens, and in them he built 7 celestial vaults. The 7 vaults, as they are known, are actually the 7 planets that they knew about at the time. They were in the heavens. In the Bible, they're called the Elohim. They're the 7 planets. El means God, and Ohim is basically just adding like an apostrophe S. It's making it a multiple possessor. Okay? So it basically just multiplies it. The 7 celestial vaults are the 7 planets they knew about at the time. Now, we know that they're 9 now, even though they demoted Pluto in astrology. Pluto still plays a little big part as far as personality shaping. But that aside, even if you say there are 8 planets now, they only knew about 7 at the time. That's why they wrote about it like this. And it's important, too, to know that at the time that they wrote the Koran, I believe they only knew about 48 constellations, whereas we know there's 88 now. At least that's how it was in the Bible. They knew about 48 constellations at the time they were written, whereas we know they're 88 now. 51, 54, you in his absence too, the Taurus for veneration. 54, you have taken a calf for veneration. This is talking about the bull and Taurus. Taurus meaning Taurus, and the calf meaning the baby bull, which is Taurus. That's what they're talking about. Hold fast to what was entrusted to you and follow obediently this law. They answered, we hear, but we do not obey him. Out of their unbelief, they poured out into their hearts a perverse affection for the calf. So the law is Libra, and the law and judgment, right? They poured their hearts and affection for the calf. The calf is the bull. They were worshiping the bull again. However, they were in the age of Pisces now. This was written in the age of Pisces, so this was wrong. They poured out their hearts a perverse affection for the calf. It's just a metaphor for the sun being in Taurus, being the age of Taurus. However, they're in the age of Pisces now. Okay, so this was wrong. And there's a story in the Bible that does that too. Moses goes to the top to get the 10 Commandments, which brings in the law for the new age. And he comes down, he sees them worshiping a golden calf, which is the sun, the gold, and the calf, Taurus. They're worshiping the age of Taurus still. But he's bringing the law down to bring them into the age of Aries, okay, which is the ram. That's why they blow the ram's horn. So there's plenty of evidence of constant calf worship, trying to bring it back to the Egyptian times of calf worship when they are more than past it. Those who do not know say, why has not the Lord turned the word to us, and why will he not show us a sign from heaven? Similar words were spoken by those who came before them, their hearts alike. We interpret the signs for those who are committed to their faith with all their soul. Looking for a sign in heaven. They're literally talking about God showing them a sign or interpreting it for them. They interpret the signs for those who are committed to faith. Other people understanding the zodiac than you. A sign from heaven. The signs are the zodiacs. They're called signs, the 12 signs. Sometimes they're called eras. Sometimes they're called houses. Sometimes they're called mansions. Sometimes they're called eons. Sometimes they're called houses. There's plenty of words for it, but that's basically what that means. 164, verily in the creation of the heavens and the firmament, and in the change, darkness of the night, light of the day, and in the ships crossing the seas according to the needs of man, in the rain that Allah pours from heaven and the earth that has fallen from death lives on them, in every the living creature that is scattered over the earth, in motions and changes of winds, the clouds between heaven and earth, they drive their servants. Truly here are the hidden signs for those who understand. So the hidden signs, they're constantly talking about it. And in the Bible, they do this too. Jesus, who's the Son, Metaphoric, it's an astrotheological, anthropomorphic manifestation of the sun. Okay? So it's basically all the stories are manifesting the signs of the 12 zodiac signs and what they do, and the story that the zodiac tells in astrotheology in a story form. So there's one point where Jesus says, for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. And he's literally talking about understanding this. And people take this as, you better listen to my word, and they take it literally, but it's not meant to be that way. Okay, the heavens are the zodiac. The living creatures are as follows: the fish, Pisces, and all water-based animals, because that's Pisces. The lamb and the ram, Aries. The bull, Taurus. The crab, Cancer. The lion, Leo. The scorpion and the belly-crawling creatures, Scorpio. And the horses, Sagittarius. Truly, here are the hidden signs for those who understand. And if you think that this isn't exactly what they mean, you have to understand is that these animals that I just mentioned, that you can see right here on this page, okay, that form up the zodiac, they make up the majority of the Quran, and they make up the majority of the zodiac too. You have to ask, why with millions of different animals do they stick to mentioning these particular ones constantly?